This video contains an ad for Squarespace. Kjære Vagera, how are you doing? Well, personally, I'm doing pretty freaking well. I'm super stoked because I have a crazy idea for a project. What if we could create an infinite library inside our bookshelf, but really make it come alive with flames and particles and everything? Oh, and we just launched a new merch we've been working on for so long. More on that later, but if you're already interested, check out nerdforge.store. Okay, so let's have a look at the sketch. We're gonna make a little diorama that we can put in between our books. It's gonna be put inside a box, and we're gonna divide that box into two parts. This is where the floating magical fire effect will appear. We'll deal with that later, but for now, let's focus on the infinite bookshelf part at the back here, where we'll put a bookshelf inside an infinity mirror. Now, in the past, when Hansi and I have made this infinity mirror effect, we've used mirror film on acrylic. This is probably not the best way to do it, so now, once and for all, I want to make a test setup and try to figure out the optimal way to make the infinity effect. The way an infinity mirror works is you have a one-way mirror at the front facing a regular mirror, and not much happens when you just put them like this. You need some kind of light on the inside. But if I turn this on, then the light from the LED strip will bounce back and forth between the one-way mirror and the regular mirror, but we're still able to see through here and kind of see the illusion this creates, which is just an infinite space going forever. Okay, so the test subjects are one-way mirror film on acrylic glass, then we have the one-way acrylic mirror, and finally one-way glass mirror. To test everything, I have this regular mirror lying down with an LED strip at the bottom, and I'm just gonna hold different mirrors on top of it to compare the strength of the illusion. Okay, so our first contestant is regular acrylic glass with one-way mirror film that I applied before this test. Then we have the store-bought one-way acrylic mirror, and finally, the real glass one-way mirror. And now let's see the side-by-side comparison. So kinda surprisingly, the acrylic one-way mirror seems to give the best illusion. I think it's pretty interesting to see that the most expensive option, which is the glass one, is also the one with the lowest reflection rate. Considering the price, I wouldn't buy the glass for a project again. And another thing is that this acrylic one-way mirror is a lot thinner than the glass one. This might be like 8 millimeters thick. This is 3, so it's just a lot more usable. So I think in terms of just usability and price and the illusion effect itself, I think acrylic one-way mirror is the way to go. It's the big winner here. But now that we got this out of the way, we can start focusing on the bookshelves that are going to be put inside this infinity mirror. We got some cardstock, some paint, a box cutter, and some other tools, and of course super glue, because glue gang, always. What I'm gonna do is pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna just cut the cardstock and glue the cardstock and paint the cardstock, and then we have bookshelves. But less talking, more working. Let's get down to business. the bookcases are finished. And it might be kind of hard to get an actual impression on how much time I've spent making these when everything just goes so fast on video, but I've spent about 2, probably more close to 3 full days making these. I probably could have done it a lot faster, but because these are going to be like the centerpiece, the main attraction in the book nook, I wanted them to look good. Like, if they look sloppy, the rest of it is just going to be a little meh. I feel like now they actually look like they belong in an old, exquisite library. We got the bookcases done, but I feel like we need something more. Just make it feel like an actual building and not just a couple of bookcases standing alone in a hallway. And I think to do that, I want to try to make an archway that binds these 2 bookcases together, add some lights in there, and make a couple of super massive doors that leads into this whole structure. Now, before we move on, and as promised from the beginning of this video, here's an ad for Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build your online presence and run your business. So let's say you want to make a website where you write tutorials on the things you make and also sell those things. Well, with Squarespace, that's easy to set up. First, you just pick a template you like as your starting point. Then you can easily add pages to your site, like for example, a store to put all your products. Then we can add a page for the tutorials and change how everything looks after that. Maybe you want a portfolio too, just to have an overview of your previous projects. Well, it's just a matter of clicking a button and boom, you have a portfolio. And then it's simply a matter of putting your content in there and launching your website. So check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/nerdforge to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And back to the project. We got the bookcases, we got the archway, the doors, and the mirror. But now we really need just something to put all this inside. And I'm just gonna use regular ass cardboard and make a box and put them in there. Cause I'm feeling lazy, okay? And cardboard works for some things. Let me get the cardboard. Brown cardstock is not my favorite, but it's really easy to cut and shape and get the shapes you need. It's okay to make it simple sometimes. Let's chop. Bottom piece first. Tiny bit of glue. Kind of hard to use this without the tip. And then hold. No. Okay, if I put it. Okay. Back. Oh, it's all bent. Okay, try to straighten. Oh, freaking. I hate super glue so much. Almost straight. Oh, the freak. It's impossible to hit these small ass edges with this super glue. This board isn't straight. Abandon ship. No, screw this. One more time. The problem is the cardboard won't glue on straight because it's kind of bent. This is what, the third time I'm trying to glue this one piece of cardboard to make it straight. But just please. I would have used hot glue if we had hot glue. I think this is the first time in history we don't have hot glue. So I'm using super glue, my mortal enemy. Would you please? Oh my god, can you stop moving? We got the bookcases, we got the archways, the doors, the mirror. Now all we need is something to put all of this inside. And to make that, I'm going to use foam board. This is basically just a super dense plate of foam. It's easy to cut, it's thick and durable, and just, it's dense. It's nice to work with. So I'm gonna build a box out of this good stuff. Time to deal with the lights. I'm going to use two different light sources inside here. First of all, these like fairy light things. This is going to be the main light source inside the actual library. But in addition to these, I wanted to have like some flickering torches. But instead of doing like a whole Arduino LED strip setup, I found these little like tea light things that has a little bit of flickering in them. So I'm just gonna disassemble these and use these for my torches. I'm just gonna remove this very fabulous housing. Doesn't really fit in. Okay, that was easy enough. So what we have to do now is to just solder off the battery here and remove the little button underneath, and then solder these little PCBs to the battery pack on the fairy lights. Too many things in my hands. Solder time. Removing the battery. I think we can just cut off this button so we can get in here. There we go. So now we just gotta solder on some new wires to this, so we have, well, enough wire to run through the whole thing and go to the battery pack, which we're going to solder on afterwards. Just gotta cut these ends, strip it off the rubber outside. I'm just going to pre-solder these cables because it makes it a lot easier to solder to the little PCB after. These are a little too long, I'm just gonna cut off the tips here. If they're too long, it might bump into some of the other solder points here. I'm just going to solder the red wire to the plus or the positive on the PCB and the black one to the negative or the ground. Now that I've soldered everything, I can just double check that it actually works with this coin cell battery that it came with, but just holding the negative to the negative and the positive to the positive, and it works. And it still flickers. Nice and simple. One more, and battery pack. While I was working on this, I figured it was a little too little to just have one string of fairy lights. I don't think it gave off enough light, so I soldered on a second one. It was super easy, just solder it to the positive and negative on the inside of this battery box. I also soldered on an extra wire here for the torches, so now I can simply just push one button, have this one battery pack for all the lights. It's a lot easier than the setup I usually use with Arduino and all that. Now I just have one battery pack with simple AA batteries that I can move around. It's refreshing. With this easy solution. Now that this is working, all I really have to do is to put the whole box together, all the components, and we can see how this turns out. Assembly time! We are almost finished with the assembly, but there is one more super cool effect that I want to add in here that I've never used in a project before. And this is no last minute shenanigans, this was planned all the way from the start. So listen to this. Have you ever heard about Pepper's ghost? It sounds kind of spooky because it is spooky. It was an effect they used back in the day in theater to try to make it appear as if ghosts were there on stage. But it's actually pretty simple. You just have glass pane, and if you turn it at the right angle, a ghost will appear on stage. But as you can see, Mario is just standing right here, and as long as he's well lit, his reflection will bounce off of this glass pane right to the audience. The way I thought to use this effect was to try to make the torches in there really look like they're on fire. So I have this animation of some flames on my phone that is going to reflect off this acrylic sheet inside there. So the flame will overlay with the Pepper's ghost effect onto the torches and make them look like they're on fire. Now you see the real reason why I made the floor tiles as they are, because they perfectly mask the bottom of the acrylic glass. Just look at this. This really messes with my brain. I can't even see where the floor begins and the glass is. And on the side here I have a perfect slot for my phone, and it won't fall down because I'm gonna put it in a bookshelf, so there will be books on either side holding this in place. But I'm really excited to see how this is gonna look. I just love having a crazy idea and not even knowing if you can make it, and then start working on it and see it gradually becoming reality. That feels amazing. And there are so many new techniques in here that is so cool, and I love it so much, and I'm really looking forward to see the result. Also, just a little reminder to check out our new merch. You might have seen me wear this for the past couple of weeks because I love how it turned out. You got the transmutation circle in the middle with the tools around it, and also the little cool maker wizard on the sleeve with his coffee mug. We have the really awesome hoodies in black and pink and the zipper hoodie, but also mugs, notebooks and t-shirts. So if you're interested, you can check it out on nerdforge.store. It really supports us, and also you get something in return. But now, let's put this where it belongs. Now we're in the library where this will find its final home. So let's put it on the shelf. And now the animation of the fire on my phone. Just gotta align it. And the lights. It looks like a freaking portal. I love it so much. This is too freaking cool. Now, thank you all so much for watching, and let's have a look at the final result.